Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
We want to focus on the things that have made us good all year long, an intensity that they can't match. And the other thing is the ultimate disrespect is when somebody takes what's yours. And this is our game, so that makes it personal. Dominate on three. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
I need 60 minutes. 60 minutes of me! You got it. 60 minutes, no business, no mercy! Nothing but sound on the sun bubble! You got me! We're gonna ring the bell! We're gonna ring that championship bell! Ding, motherfucking dog!
Ball is on Mitch Jeter's leg. Good snap, good hold, kick on its way, and the kick is good! Yes! Mitch Jeter, with 7 seconds left, gives the Irish a lead, 27-24. Notre Dame is on the precipice.
Notre Dame has won the Orange Bowl. 3rd and 16, Mahomes rolling out. Looking, firing, intercepted, picked up by Cooper DeJean, gets a block, DeJean is in, touchdown!
The Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 59. They have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
You are looking live.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. You are looking live. It is December the 9th, 2025. We are glad to be back with you for another week, and we hope you are doing well wherever you are. Make sure you are following along with us all season long, all year long at Huddle Up Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Twitter. You can get us on Instagram at Huddle Up Podcast Inc. You can get us on Twitch at Huddle Up Inc. You can also click the scan the QR code there in the top right corner of your screen. That'll get you to our link tree, get you everywhere and connected with everything Huddle Up related. Would certainly appreciate that. You can also grab your Huddle Up merchandise over there on our TeePublic store. We have a new Stranger Things style shirt up there. Now available as well. I think still time to get your orders before Christmas, so hop over there and grab those. And even if you're too late for Christmas shipping, give one of those little printouts with the IOUs. We used to do it all the time. Our poor parents, all the time, got little IOU printed pictures in their Christmas boxes. That was a regular staple of Sean and I. So go ahead, grab your Huddle Up merch. I would certainly appreciate that. And you're laughing because you know it's true, Sean.
Just here, I got you this printed out picture. They're like, I can't wait till it comes. Like, it's not coming.
It's actually, spoiler alert, it's never arriving.
I don't have any money, but that's what you're worth if I did.
It's never.
Go ahead and grab yourself. I thought you might want to go buy that. You know,
it will never be there. Devin checking in with us said this is going to be good. Yeah. This is gonna be a fun show for sure. At least the first portion of it. I'm sure we have plenty of opinions to talk about here. But EJ, I think, will be with us later during the NFL section, and certainly we will eventually get there. But man, as that intro's playing, there's a lot going on with the intro clips. Obviously, I do those new for each season. There's the Nick Saban, ironically enough, talking about somebody taking what's yours, and that's the ultimate sign of disrespect. And yet he sits on a panel that justifies disrespect. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then, of course, we have the Notre Dame clips kicking the Orange Bowl kick, being on the precipice, where how great things were a year ago. We'll certainly talk about that and then the Eagles, how great things were a year ago, and we will certainly talk about that. But Sean, before we get to the obvious, we will start the show as we always do. And man, I don't know if there was a ton of this in the past 7 days, but we'll talk about the best of the week. All right. Well, Sean, what was the best from the past week in the world of football?
Well, I can tell you the worst. I can tell you, what that was. But that's been the worst for most of the season. As far as the best of the week, I'm going to stay in the NFL because it'll keep me calm. And I'm going to give an individual and a team performance this week.
Okay.
My individual best of the week, my individual performance goes to, I guess, a now veteran presence in the Tennessee Titans backfield. I'm going to give it to my man Tony Pollard, a former friend of yours down in Dallas.
Yeah.
Seemed lost in a backfield, and maybe it was on a team that was getting their wheels greased a bit. Seemed to this week put up 31 points, primarily thanks to Tony Pollard's 161 yards, 6.4 yard average, and 2 touchdowns. So Tony Pollard from the grave. If you had him on your fantasy, maybe he was on your bench. Maybe you're crying a little because it would have put you in the fantasy playoffs.
He probably was on your bench. I'd almost.
If you had him in the flex spot, you're looking good. I did start him, all but in a league that I was already dead in, so it didn't really matter. But he put up a show for me there on the final week. Team performance, I'm going to give it to.
You play to win the game.
much to the chagrin of any local listeners down here in the Tampa Bay, my team best of the week goes to the New Orleans Saints, who travel with their 2 wins. There you go. They travel to what's normally sunny Tampa Bay. It was a very wet Tampa Bay this weekend, wet and fairly cold. Not exactly the beach vacation they were hoping for, but they had a good time. 2 rushing touchdowns for the rookie quarterback. And, just an all-around kind of, while some would call it a lackluster performance from the Buccaneers, I'm going to go ahead and say, even with that, still probably the best we'd seen from the Saints all year. So good job getting yourselves your 3rd win of the year in a division showdown.
There you go. Yeah. A surprising result, to say the least. And Tampa has to turn it around real quick for Thursday night and hopefully, keep things going there in the South. Devin's best of the week, in his opinion, said the Chiefs continue their winning ways and the Dolphins continue their winning ways. The Chiefs losing to the Texans. Yeah, I mean,
look at that sentence one more time,
right?
And imagine what you'd have said to that
a month or two ago. And the wildest part, I mean, we've talked this season that it was only a matter of time before McDaniels gets fired, and now all of a sudden, same record as the Kansas City Chiefs.
Pretty sure we had a double lock on that on a Monday.
I'm fairly certain we did. We were ready. We were ready to write that eulogy, and all of a sudden they have the same record as the defending champs, or AFC champs. So, people sending us money. What is
happening?
I mean, you can send us money.
Yeah, just throw it in there.
Yeah, I kind of have 2 bests. The one, and we'll certainly unpack a lot of this in the next segment, but I'm going to start it off by saying my best of the week is Notre Dame. And it sounds funny given the state of, everything going on, but Notre Dame handling itself with far more class and dignity than college football, the college football playoff, the ACC, the Big 12, and a lot of others in the talking sphere deserve, quite frankly. But Marcus Freeman statements from the university, athletic director Pete Bavacqua have been the epitome of class over the last couple of days. Far more presented than I ever could be in those situations. Is probably why they get paid the big bucks and I do not. But I wanted to highlight that, and we will certainly unpack more of that in the next segment. But my NFL best of the week, Shedrick Jackson, nephew of Raiders and NFL legend Bo Jackson catching a 25-yard touchdown pass from Kenny Pickett on his first NFL touch and catch of his career, albeit in a loss. Raider lost to the Broncos, although only by 7 to the AFC's number 1 seed. More on that later in the show. But yeah, nephew of Bo Jackson getting involved in his first action. So good to see that. Obviously a great was Bo Jackson with the Raiders. So yeah, that's where we will leave the best of the week. And even though we don't really have a worst, a good, a bad, the ugly situation anymore, our next segment is going to be the bad and the ugly. So we might as well rip the Band-Aid right off, Sean. I will put the bracket on the board. College football playoff reveal on Sunday. And I think it was about 12:40 p.m. Eastern time. Was the time of death of happiness with us. But your top 4, your teams with the bye. Number 1, for the first time, the Indiana Hoosiers, the Big Ten champions. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, SEC champion, Georgia. Your number 4 seed is Big 12 champion, Texas Tech. Your 5 seed, Oregon. 6 seed, Ole Miss. 7 seed, Texas A&M. 8 seed, Oklahoma. Those ones not a big surprise. But the shocking moment of the afternoon came when number 9 was revealed to be the team that got their faces kicked in on a Saturday afternoon in Georgia. That's Alabama.
Used to mean something to get your face kicked
You're
in.
not kidding. Well, and the funny thing is, ask the teams at 10, 11, and 12, because at least to one of those teams, it did mean something, because
It did.
there's a team in Utah that isn't in this bracket because they lost big on a Saturday in Texas.
They dropped hard.
Yeah. Number 10, Miami. Number 11, your AAC champion, Tulane. Your number 12 seed is your Sun Belt champion, James Madison. No ACC champion in this bracket, as the now 9-5 Duke Demon Deacons win the ACC, but
Duke Blue Devils.
Duke Blue Devils. I was doing the
You were doing the Wake Forest.
the Wake Forest. Well, every team's so bad there that
They're all the same.
they're all the same at that point. But the Blue Devils it doesn't matter because they're not in this thing anyway. So, and I had the opportunity to talk to student of the game, Kyle Nash, just before we were on air tonight, and he is just as shocked and appalled as we all are. Former resident Notre Dame hater on this show, no. And I told him, and if you ever have a chance to talk to my wife, first I'll send her your condolences, because she has heard far more about this whole situation over the past 48 hours than any person
has to be miserable.
probably should or ever should have to. But I'm watching the rigmarole, the whole clown show charade that is the college football playoff program, and I knew after they revealed the first 8, I knew our fate was going to be determined by number 9. And when Alabama's name showed up on the screen, I said, I can't believe they did it. Because they told us a week ago that idle teams could move up or down. And they were waiting for the moment.
They already knew what they were doing, James.
They did. And that's the thing. And credit to Mike, who's been on this show, over the years. He said that the Virginia caused this, because if Virginia won, they would have been the ACC team in the bracket. And I said I disagree, because in hindsight, the College Football Playoff Committee told us last week this was going to happen. When they moved Alabama above Notre Dame after a bad loss at Auburn, this was the path. because it didn't matter. The only way that Miami doesn't get in was if BYU won the Big 12, and they would have jumped over Notre Dame. Notre Dame was never going to be in this bracket, and that's the reality of it. We'll unpack the Notre Dame stuff a little bit more in a minute, but looking at this bracket, Sean, for me, I'm not bothered that Miami is in. I'm really not. And that's been kind of the funny thing about this whole thing is Notre Dame fans and Miami fans and Miami and the ACC have been doing this PR campaign, and it worked. But I'm not mad Miami's in because they did everything they could. Especially, well, I mean, they lost the 2 games they did, but they did what they could. They won the rest of the way. They beat us. That is what it is. We did everything we could. We lost the first 2 games. We won 10 in a row. Ironically, we have like the second longest winning streak in college football, and we're not going to be able to keep it going until next season now. The thing that I can't get over the fact that there's a team who has looked a shell of anything that resembles a quality football program for the last month, and we've always heard about this, the last data point. Everybody wants to talk about that last data point. What's the last thing that we see before these brackets, before these polls, before these bowl games get unveiled? What's the last memory? You get that closing statement. Excuse me. Alabama's closing statement could not have been worse. They had 70. They had under 100 yards in the first half. They didn't score until the fourth quarter.
Their only touchdown was a gift.
It was an absolute gift. They had -3 rushing yards, and they were awarded.
You're going to put them against the other, arguably, 7 or 8 best teams in the country, and you're going to say this team's going to do better now. Like this is like one of the team that just shellacked them is in this tournament.
Yeah.
Right, and they're not even the number 1.
No, so that team didn't even move. That's the most astounding part of this. Is
like Alabama's good enough
to not move.
With that loss, they didn't move, and the team that just murdered them didn't pass Ohio State.
Right.
Now I get Ohio State 1 loss, no reason for them to fall any farther. I'm just making a point. Buckeyes,
sure.
Don't panic. All right.
Right. This isn't about you, Ohio State.
Right, but like. There's two shining examples of the fact that last glimmer or that last look in didn't mean anything this year, and it's not just Alabama. I think Oklahoma is just as bad. I think Oklahoma had an awful finish to the season, and they didn't move anywhere.
No,
like they just hung right where they have been, just cruising around number 8, and like they have no business. They don't have any business being ahead of Miami. If you're going to let Miami in.
Right.
They should be ahead of both those teams.
Absolutely.
The football gods gave this committee, after all of the it should be Miami, it should be the Irish, it should be Miami, it should be the Irish. They gave with a loss by BYU and a loss by Alabama. They had the opportunity to just let them both in. And you could have just made them 8-9.
Right. Right.
You imagine the ratings for a Catholics convicts rematch after all the crap that's been talked all year.
Right.
This isn't about ratings. This is about loving the SEC. It's about a tie-in to a set of schools that were going to get in there no matter what, as long as they didn't lose more than 3 games. Yep. And it's embarrassing. Having said that, I would like to point out the positive of the bracket, and that is the Indiana Hoosiers at number 1. Because if I was going to pick a college best of the week, that probably would have been it. Because congratulations to the Indiana Hoosiers. Congratulations for coming over that hump. First outright title since what, the 40s I saw?
67. It was like 45 and 67.
But 67 was a split title.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so it wasn't the first outright since the
40s.
Yeah.
So and he's been there 2 years, the coach?
Yes, I believe so.
Second year, right?
I believe so.
Not a bad turnaround, kids. The Hoosiers are not going anywhere.
It's amazing what you can do when everybody can pay your player.
When all of a sudden, when you're allowed to pay people too, and there's just a approved budget for it, All of a
and
sudden,
that's another
Midwest kids have somewhere else to go.
That's another wrinkle in this as well, and it really kind of clicked today when you look at the bracket. Alabama didn't drop either because, which I guess it really wouldn't have mattered because they're playing an SEC school, but it would have been a harder matchup if they would have fell to 10, right? So. Not only did the committee strong arm another SEC team in there, a committee chaired by Arkansas's athletic director, by the way, and if you're keeping score at home, they're in the SEC. But you're maximizing the opportunities for the SEC because in the first round, let's be honest, Ole Miss is going to just absolutely wipe Tulane off the field. So you're guaranteed to have at least one SEC team in the semifinals because Ole Miss will play Georgia.
They'll play Georgia, right?
They're hoping, assuming that Texas A&M will beat Miami, right? Like that's their hope. I mean, but
they will.
Which they will. But I mean, hey, Miami beat Notre Dame by 3. Texas A&M only beat us by 1. So Miami has to be better, right?
Better in comparison, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you're hoping that they can upset Ohio State. Then you'll have 2 teams there. Yeah, Alabama or Oklahoma, one of those two. Obviously, SEC is going to advance. Hopefully one of them will lose to Indiana. But they're trying to maximize the number. And you look at the fact that 2 years ago it was Michigan versus Washington in the national title game. There wasn't an SEC team in the national title game. Last year, Notre Dame beats the SEC champion along the way. Just want to point that out. On the way to national title, Ohio State beats an SEC team in the semis to get the national title. So, second year running, you're not even. It's not only that you didn't win a national title, you weren't even in the game. You didn't even have a chance to win a national title. Now all of a sudden, no penalties for losing, except if you're BYU. So it's just it really does show. And if you look at sports media the last couple days, ESPN got their marching orders. They've had everybody rolling out the basically poorly written ChatGPT tweets about it. Joel Klatt's on your side. The downfall of Joel Klatt is astounding. The fact I was telling my wife, I was telling student of the game Kyle Nash about this. The fact that over the last 24 hours, I have agreed with statements and tweets by Jason Whitlock, formerly of Outkick. There was a Barstool podcast, and Dan Orlovsky at ESPN. It shows you that we live in the upside. We live in the upside down. But you know what? Dan Orlovsky may be the only ESPN employee that I have any respect for right now, because he has gone double barrel.
But is it on purpose? Like Orlovsky gets made fun of for such bad takes.
Maybe, I guess.
Notre Dame.
Either that or his contract's up and he wants a job at NBC.
Well, the other thing, the 3 guys you mentioned, while oftentimes terrible, one thing that they have is they're not one to just jump on hot takes every time. They're not. Sure. They usually stick to their guns. Their guns are usually wrong, but right. but they're speaking honest. What I see, my experience in football points, and Orlovsky, every so often is going to hit one because it's going to be a point where he's like, everyone else is just going with whatever's make believe. And he's just like, I don't know what you guys are saying. He doesn't follow it. He's just like, no, this is not the case. You guys are idiots. Robert Griffin had a great take on the whole situation.
Yes.
In a tweet. Another surprising one, as I am not typically on base with Robert Griffin III. But
no, he actually blocked me years ago on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah, he just made a strong case, and it was kind of one of those cases, the one I just made almost, that you had the chance to just let them both in, right, to stop all of it, avoid all the scrutiny, avoid whatever's going to blow up from all this. You could have just avoided it. And if you knock Alabama out, no one's going to say anything. it's not like anyone's be, I can't believe they saw the game.
Right.
Like, it's not like anyone was going to be like, they'd have just been like, well, shouldn't have lost. Right. So, like, there would have been no kickback for booting. You boot Oklahoma out, you might get some, because they didn't go out on a loss. It was a gross win, but they did it. And, they've kind of done that all year they're kind of the Denver Broncos of the SEC. Just sloppy, decent enough offense to let the defense win the game, right? And it's worked, so congrats, Oklahoma. But oh my goodness!
Here's the thing: I pulled up Alabama's schedule, and everybody wants to talk about since the Oklahoma loss. But let's even go back a little bit. Let's go back to the end of October. Sean, they needed a come from behind win to beat South Carolina, who I think had 4 wins this year. They were 4-8. Alabama beat them by 7 in a comeback effort. Alabama had to come back to beat LSU, who didn't even have their head coach at this point. Yeah. Then they lose.
We learned this year, if you're going to lose in week 1 or look terrible at the start of the year, do it against bad teams that aren't relevant later.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like I've learned it used to be schedule those out of conference games early, get them out of the way. Don't do that. They will haunt you. Right.
Yeah, they will absolutely haunt you.
Get blown out in December now.
It doesn't even, apparently it doesn't matter when it doesn't matter if you lose late, because that was always the thing. You lose early, don't lose late.
Well, you can lose late if it's in a conference.
If it's in the SEC.
Right.
Because if you lose late in the Big 12, you will get punished.
You'll lose.
And
you'll drop. Yeah.
23-21 loss to Oklahoma. A 56-0 win over known powerhouse Eastern Illinois.
What a great win.
A great win in November. But that one I think even wasn't like the most tremendous yeah, I guess it was 28-0 at halftime.
I don't know if it was at that point or a little late. There was a point where we were on the Alabama train where we were like, this team has turned on the juice.
Yeah.
And they ran out quick.
And then obviously the come from behind win, 27-20 over Auburn, and then the 28-7 loss to Georgia. And man, and like that's the thing. It's like to hear pundits talk about, well, you should have just beaten Miami or Texas A&M. Okay, well, let's go back to that very same week where Notre Dame lost to Miami. There was a 31-17 loss in Tallahassee by Alabama, a Florida State team that finished 5-7, 13th in the ACC, a conference that is so bad and poorly run that they couldn't even get their conference champion into the bracket. And Florida State was 13th in that conference. And Alabama got wiped off the field by them. Like
it was gross. I mean, I think everybody was ready to dismiss Alabama.
The thing I think the thing that blows my mind the most out of what has happened over the last couple of days is the fact that people have told me for years there's not an SEC bias in college football. Okay? And you may have had a point, right? You may have had a point until now. Because sure, you can play the sour grapes card, you can play the you're just mad at greatness card. But you're in a situation where you look at the fact that there are literally different rules for Alabama than there is for anybody else in the SEC. Because they said they can't punish Alabama because they had beaten Georgia earlier in this year. That win earlier this year was already baked into where they were ranked previously. When they moved up by barely beating Auburn, by having the guts to do a fourth down play.
Which is a bad football call. I'm still going to say
it's a bad football call. And also, if you're good enough to be 9th in the country, you shouldn't have to be in that spot the last week of the regular season. But you were already like that win over Auburn has nothing to do with the win over Georgia earlier in the year. So the loss to Georgia in the SEC title game should matter. It should matter. And let's just pretend that it doesn't matter, right? Like, we can't punish a team for losing in a conference title game. That's what I've heard for the last 2 days. And even the minutes after Alabama lost, you can't punish a team for losing in a conference title game. Then why is BYU punished for losing in the Big 12 title game?
Exactly. They had to play an extra game.
Yeah.
They were rewarded by playing an extra
right.
game.
It's a privilege, right? It's a privilege to play in a conference title game. So either Notre Dame got screwed or BYU got screwed. Okay?
Well, I mean, and if I'm BYU, I'm like, so we played the extra game. We earned our conference title game. We lost, and we get passed by a team that didn't make one in the worst conference in football.
Right?
They didn't even make a title game.
Right?
Because they lost to the team that lost to Duke, right? Was Virginia one of their losses? Louisville and someone else.
Louisville and SMU.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Miami didn't even play either of the teams in the conference.
That's the narrative that's getting omitted that I hate. It's, well, we beat them head-to-head, and they're saying, well, the strength of schedule is exactly the same. First of all, I don't think that's the case.
It is not, by the way. Notre Dame's is higher.
Because I'm like, well, you're telling me Notre Dame's not as good as you. That's your best win.
Right. You're only there because you beat us.
Is that their only quality win is against Notre Dame?
It is.
Despite the fact that the ACC and Miami continue to tell us how bad we are because their schedule was bad.
Pitt was ranked when they beat them, same as when we beat them.
Okay, so same. Got it. They don't have, like, Notre Dame has had two what I would call quality losses, right?
Sure.
We may not have a win against ourselves, but that's hard to do. But USC's better than anyone that they beat. You know, it might not be to the level of say the Irish. So yeah, Miami might have a better win, but no one's bringing up the terrible losses,
right?
Which normally obliterates you.
Right.
Now, I guess you can just take a bad loss.
Sure.
Alabama's proving it. Miami's proving it. As long as you have a conference that's willing to go to bat for you and do a smear campaign against everyone else that's going against you, you can lose to anyone you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know.
Because here's the thing. The penultimate ranking they moved Alabama up, Notre Dame down. 9 and 10. BYU is 11. Miami was 12. So if a conference title win, a conference title loss where you're blown off the field means that you don't drop, BYU shouldn't have dropped, which meant Notre Dame gets in, because the only reason that we're in the predicament that we are is because Notre Dame and Miami were finally next to each other. So that
argument that, like, the head-to-head, you know,
never came into play.
It never came into play because they were too far apart in the rankings.
Right.
Right. But when BYU lost,
it put us next to each other.
And then they felt that they had to take. I'm like, if it's going to come into account, then put them ahead of us. The rest of if Miami had been ahead of us for the last 4 weeks, I'd have way less of a gripe.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd still have one.
Yeah. And well, I want to unpack the Notre Dame stuff separately.
Okay. So let's look at the rest of it if there's anything else.
And we'll preview the games. And look, I'll be 100% honest. I addressed this in the emotional aftermath of Sunday. I said I didn't even want to talk about this. I said I didn't want to talk about the games. I'm not going to watch the games, by the way. I will be 100% transparent with our audience about that. I am not watching a single second of college football the rest of the year, barring if my better half wants to watch the Michigan, the Cheez-It Bowl. I will support that and watch that with her. And if I am at any friends' houses or anything and they put on any games, I'm not going to be a child about it. But they will not be. None of the college football playoff games will willingly be put on my TV in my home. That is a choice I'm making. But the rest of the Huddle Up staff voted to talk about it, and in the aftermath and the calmer period, it is the right choice to address it. But yeah, I mean, it just last week the argument, the debate was between Alabama and Notre Dame. The last week the committee said that it wasn't even the data point, that was the data point. So I don't understand how when a team loses 24-7, they hold true. But yeah, is there anything else, Sean, from the rest of the bracket point? We will preview the games next week because there's a week off before the playoff games begin. So there's no games to preview this week. Is there anything else from the bracket?
Well, the only thing I could point out is that if my heart of hearts could predict what's going to happen and make it so, I would love nothing more, because there is an opportunity. Now, there's no way for 4 non-SEC teams to get through unless Tulane goes on one hell of a run. Right. Hey, if the Green Wave wants to start rolling,
I am here for it.
If Tulane gets through Ole Miss and Georgia, just give it to them.
Yeah, exactly. That's just shut it down.
Just cancel the rest of the tournament. It's theirs. But
I will get here. I'll get a Tulane tattoo somewhere if they can beat Ole Miss and Georgia. 2
SEC teams.
Like I'm usually not a second favorite.
To get those automatic bids out of there, let the SEC get steamrolled by one of them.
I'm usually not a second favorite team type of guy, but I will be a huge Green Wave fan.
But I'll tell you this: I think there's a very real possibility. It's not a pipe dream. My hope of hopes here. Because looking at the bracket, I think it's very realistic. You could have a Final Four, despite everything they've done, that is 1 SEC team and 3 Big Ten teams, right? You could have Oregon, you could have Indiana, and you could have Ohio State. And looking at who they would draw, I mean, Oregon gets, for being what would be an underdog, at least ranking-wise, Texas Tech is arguably the best second-round matchup of the. Not even arguably.
Man, dude, Texas.
That's the worst of the 4.
Yeah.
By a landslide. So you get a chance to maybe roll through them, and the Hoosiers get a chance to play a mediocre-ish Alabama team or a semi-mediocre. Like you're gonna have to get through Oklahoma's defense if it's them, but they're very beatable. And then you get Ohio State's gonna get a slightly less invincible-looking Texas A&M team, or what I consider to be pretty much the garbage of the whole pale here, because I'm not 11 and 12. I'm not calling them garbage. Congratulations to Tulane.
Right. Look,
well done. Right.
Yeah. I've been very public that I think it's a joke that there's 2 G5 schools in when Notre Dame and BYU and Texas and Vanderbilt are sitting at home. But here's the thing: Tulane and James Madison, you did nothing wrong. You
went out, you won a bunch of games. The ACC handed you a gift.
The provisions are set up. There has to be 5 conference champions. You guys won your conferences. The ACC's garbage.
Congrats.
And a lot of this could have been avoided too if the ACC didn't have the stupidest tiebreaker rules ever. Miami would have won the ACC. James Madison would have been the odd man out. Notre Dame would have been in the bracket, but the ACC's garbage.
What a trash conference!
It's just absolute trash. I'm sure we'll touch on that here in a second.
The whole thing sucks.
It does. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the winner of the I'm just gonna call it the Oregon Texas Tech quarterfinal. Hopefully they're playing Indiana, and then it's going to be gross. It's going to be
from there. I'm a Buckeyes fan, because if you could get me a national championship game that doesn't involve the SEC, I'll watch that.
Sign me up.
Because I want to hear the announcers try to call a game that doesn't have an SEC team.
Oh my God! Inject it into my veins. Inject it into my veins. Just please give me that.
Give me a rematch of Indiana Ohio State.
Hell yeah, I'd be here for that.
That game was awesome.
That game was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, anything that doesn't involve the SEC at this point.
Man, I should probably bet that. I probably don't even have to put a lot on that. Everybody wants the SEC teams. I'm going to take those 4.
But all right, we'll get the bracket off the screen, and obviously the talk of college football, the last 24, 48 hours has been Notre Dame's reaction to this. In the immediate aftermath, I think you and me, and we were texting with our dad, and I was texting with friends of mine. And immediately I was like, man, I want this team to give the middle finger and not participate in the postseason. And I think you were very quick to be like, well, you kind of want whatever the players vote to do.
Right.
And then, Sunday afternoon, I think it was in about the 3:00 hour or so, there was a statement from Notre Dame. See if I can find it here. It doesn't want to pull up on my phone. But basically the statement was that Notre Dame would not be participating in the postseason, and they are focusing on looking ahead to next year and trying to win the national title. And Athletic Director Pete Bavacqua went on Dan Patrick on Monday, had a press conference today, reiterated some of the same points in that immediately in the aftermath of what had happened, himself, Marcus Freeman, the captains of the team, as well as some other players, they began having discussions, and it was a unanimous group decision to not play, and because this team was such a tight-knit group, they had worked so hard in the aftermath of the opening 2 losses to win 10 in a row, especially over the last month as Alabama was crumbling, to win their final 6 games by an average of over 30-point margin of victory. And the consensus was that playing as a shell of that team is not something they wanted to do. I fully okay, here we go. As a team, we've decided to withdraw our name from consideration for a bowl game following the 2025 season. We appreciate all the support from our families and fans, and we're hoping to bring a 12th national title to South Bend in 2026. Signed, the 2025 Notre Dame football team. And over the last 48 hours or so, there's kind of been 2 sides. One has been people have been very proud of Notre Dame's decision, and that if there's ever going to be a change to what is considered by many to be a broken system, that Notre Dame might be the team that actually has the power to do it. And there's been people that have reacted that Notre Dame is being a crybaby and picking up their ball and not getting their way and going home.
According to buddy Scott, Bush League is what he said. Bush League is what it is.
Okay, ask him how his pinstripe bowl against Clemson is going to be. Two preseason top 3 programs, and they're playing in the pinstripe bowl.
So find a new coach. They should have just just have Brian Kelly standing at the 50-yard line. Winning team gets
Brian Kelly.
Final score 0-0. Both teams are like
they even go into like the 2-point conversion part of overtime. They just keep taking these. Like just
do we can we just
like I don't want to do it. I don't want to.
We could be family.
But I said this to you guys. I have said this to people that probably don't want to hear me say it anymore. I don't know if I've ever been more proud to be a Notre Dame fan than I've been in the last 48 hours. Because they have handled a situation that sucks with far more class and far more dignity than this process deserves. And they have stood their ground. They have explained their position with education and backing and fact. And And with the ability that they have as an independent, and if you don't know why they're independent, do your own friggin' research, because there's historical reasons why that program is independent, and why they will stay independent. I am so incredibly impressed by them, by Notre Dame alumni. Brady Quinn has gone nuclear on social media and in media, defending Notre Dame. And Notre Dame is in a rare air where they don't need ESPN's money, where they don't need to go play in a bowl game, because they don't have to answer to the other teams in their conference that would lose out money if they boycott a bowl game. Remember Florida State a couple years ago when they got iced out of the playoff? They went and played with a shell of their team. They got blown off the field by Georgia. They couldn't give the middle finger. Notre Dame can. So I'll let you give thought, but I have been incredibly proud of Notre Dame in the last 48 hours.
No, I think it's admirable, because from Notre Dame's standpoint, you could be doing a reverse ACC smear campaign. You could be talking about all the tweets, all the social media posts. You could be just pointing fingers here and pointing fingers there. This is where they screwed us. This is where they screwed us again. And they're not. They're saying their piece. They're pointing out some things that bothered them, and they're walking away. And I don't think the story's over.
I don't believe
at
either.
all. And like you said, with a school with as much clout by themselves, part of, again, one of the benefits of being an independent, and not just having to roll with the conferences. Your voice can be heard, and you do carry a lot of clout when it comes to ratings and money and draw and things like that. So, I think the program is back. I don't think it's going anywhere, and I would love it if this sort of snub turned into a blessing in disguise, and some talented people from high schools and in the transfer portal that also think it was ridiculous, kind of want to join the fight. I think that would be a really great turnaround. But the thing that's bothered me the most about the whole thing is first of all, everybody was like, oh, what a rash decision and an emotional one by Notre Dame. And then the reaction to them making the choice is just, oh, what a bunch of crybabies and quitters. Like, they're like, Notre Dame didn't take time to think about it. You're not taking time to think.
Right.
Notre Dame is not sitting out of a bowl game and boycotting a bowl because they're not in the playoff. It's not just, well, we didn't get in, right? It's the way things were gone about. It's the way things twisted and turned and meant one thing one week when it was convenient, but another way, and the way that as the ACC and some other schools that felt snubbed, and they were rash and emotional, and were like, Notre Dame didn't do this, and Notre Dame didn't do that, and and everyone heard them, and Notre Dame chose to be the bigger man there, and just not react to it, and just go to work and win 10 games in a row, and the fact that social media and the media in general seemed to guide this committee into some sort of process that ultimately gave the committee what it set out to do in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But in such a way that it made it like almost entertaining for everyone else to watch them like dangle a carrot, only to, it was just very poorly done. It felt very, very immature. It felt very just not organized. Like it felt a little corrupt. There's all kinds of things.
Definitely corrupt.
Yeah, if there's some things that are dug into, it could add up to something bigger. Now, do I think all those doors are going to be open? Probably not. But But yeah, I wish people would just take a second and be like, well, what else are they so mad about? And what does a boycott by Notre Dame mean? It's not like the University of Colorado being like, well, we didn't get a fair schedule or something. Like they made up some, like, if you feel like a process is not fair to you, but not fair to, like, if it seems like this could happen again, right? Like this could happen to another team. Like this is something that needs looked at. Then you have to bring it to people's attention in a big way, and I'm happy to know that that we're doing that.
The head of the College Football Playoff Committee, and there's some comments in here, and I will get to those from Jason. The head of the playoff committee. You talk about corruption and things like that. The chair of this year's College Football Playoff Committee is the athletic director at Arkansas. When I pull up Arkansas's schedule, obviously they play in the SEC. I'm gonna give you a list of numbers, and I want you to see if one kind of sticks out. 6, 43, 3, 3, 7, 3, 1, and 13.
Did you say what these numbers were, or I'm just picking a number that doesn't make sense?
Is there a number that sticks out of that bunch?
Well, 43 seems to stand out pretty far.
So those were margin of losses by the University of Arkansas this year against some of their better opponents. The smaller numbers were SEC opponents. 43 was the number of points that Arkansas lost on Saturday, September 27th to the University of Notre Dame. After that game, Arkansas and their athletic director, head of the College Football Playoff Committee this year, fired their coach, basically cleaned house in their athletic program because of the embarrassment that they suffered on a Saturday afternoon in September. Whether that played into a hand a bit, I'm not sure. But yeah, you talked about Marcus Freeman and how Notre Dame can use this moving forward. Today in his press conference, athletic director Pete Bavacqua spoke about Marcus Freeman over the last 48 hours. He said he's a competitor, he's a fighter. He'll use this as motivation at the right time. He has a long memory, and this will work to our advantage next year, knowing what I know about Marcus. And here's the thing. We've already seen that, right? Last year, Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois in week 2, and everybody wrote them off. And Marcus Freeman played that tape to his team every Saturday before they took the field to remind them of where they were. They went to a national championship game and fell 11 points short. This year, they started the year with 2 losses by 4 points, by the way. Alabama lost 4 days ago by 21. Notre Dame lost 2 games by 4 points to 2 teams that are now in the top 10. And he took a team that everybody was ready to write off. And they won 10 in a row. And their last 6, they won by 30 or more. And they beat, Syracuse stinks. They beat them 70-7. I don't think there's an SEC team that had a 70-7 win over anybody, and they play FCS teams. Notre Dame did everything they could. They have the second longest winning streak in college football. And I think the thing that bothers me the most, and another reason I am so supportive of what Notre Dame did, and this is one of the points that Pete Bavacqua has made in every media hit I've seen him do. From the very first playoff ranking, Notre Dame has been above Miami. And then after Alabama lost to Oklahoma, Notre Dame has been above Alabama until last week. And last week, the committee said that Miami wasn't even in the discussion with Notre Dame because Notre Dame was better. And the discussion point was Alabama or Notre Dame. And then on a Saturday in the beginning of December, Alabama loses by 21 points And I understand Notre Dame wasn't playing, but Alabama lost by 21 points in a game that wasn't even that close, where they had less than 100 yards of offense in the first half, and they had -3 rushing yards. -3 rushing yards. In a game, in a conference championship game.
Against a rival opponent.
Against a rival opponent.
On a big stage, everyone's watching.
Everybody is watching. And -3. And you're meaning to tell me that that team is still better than Notre Dame? In what universe? So the whole time these weekly rankings shows are telling us Notre Dame is the 8th best team, the 9th best team. And then the 11th hour, they're all of a sudden 11th? When they've done nothing but win since the first weekend of September?
Right, that's just it. Like, you set a precedent that this is one of the 8 best teams in the country. And, like, the more chirps and the more things, be like, I don't know, I'm not an expert, but I don't know. And then all of a sudden you're not.
Right. And Notre Dame, ironically, goes -3 spots over the last 2 rankings. The same number of rushing yards Alabama had in the SEC title game.
-3.
-3. Alabama doesn't move. So one of 2 things is true here. Either the weekly ranking shows are completely pointless, or Notre Dame got screwed. Or both are true. And in my opinion, both are true.
Could be both. Yeah, both.
Because let's be honest, the weekly shows mean nothing. They mean nothing. If where you were a week ago and you keep winning mean nothing at the end, what did those last 5 weeks mean? It means nothing. And Alabama, by the way, the only conference champion in the last, let's even call it decade, team to play in a conference championship game. They're the only one that hasn't gone down in a playoff ranking. ESPN has a huge contract to broadcast the SEC, the SEC championship, and the college football playoff. You don't have to be a mathematician to figure out what happened. Okay? You can't tell me there's not SEC bias anymore. You can't. You can't. Because we have seen it. It is now tangible. It's no longer opinion. It's no longer, this guy got this call because of this, and the referees are screwing them, and they're doing this, and this replay shit. We have seen it in real time now. The SEC bias is there. The money is there. Guess what? $4 million. That's how much each team playing in the college football playoff makes. If Notre Dame gets in and Alabama doesn't, that's $4 million less to the SEC/ESPN. You don't have to be a mathematician to figure it out.
Just nuts.
Let's see here. Jason points out here, Bama lost to FSU, made it with 3 losses. Makes no sense. They didn't move. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. He asked a question. This is something Mike brought up. You think Duke winning messed up the decision on Miami joining? If Virginia won, it would eliminate Miami. No, I think this decision, we did touch on that. I think this decision was made last week when Alabama moved above Notre Dame.
Yep.
They saw what was coming. This decision, in hindsight, Notre Dame was eliminated from playoff contention last week. Notre Dame was absolutely eliminated last week. Bama became the first 2-loss team to make the BCS championship, and now the first 3-loss team to make the playoffs. Yep. It just means more in the SEC. He said he'd rather see Texas over Bama.
The 4-team BCS playoff was, and man, if I'm Florida State, I'm griping too. I'd be bringing up the past because they were told when their quarterback got hurt and they didn't get in that, well, we need to make sure the best teams and the best product,
right,
the teams that are going to play the best football. need to be in. Now I understand with the way things were set up, we were going to get James Madison and we were going to get Tulane. That's fine.
Yeah.
But that means your other 10 teams should be the 10 best things.
Yep.
And when you have sports books saying that they would put Notre Dame ahead by a touchdown favorite if they played head-to-head with Miami, I'd be curious what they would put if Notre Dame was playing against Alabama.
Oh, I'd love it.
I know that the SEC bias kind of comes into play there too because people will bet the SEC, but
I did see that late Saturday night, Notre Dame would have been a 9-point favorite over Oklahoma, a 5.5 over Miami, and a 3.5 over Alabama.
And that's because Notre Dame was playing better football at the time that the regular season ended than any of those three teams.
Sunday morning, I believe it was DraftKings and or FanDuel, had the odds for the national champion, Sean. And this is with taking into consideration the possibility that they wouldn't make the bracket. Notre Dame had the third highest odds to win the national championship, behind only Indiana and Ohio State.
It's because they were playing great defense.
Great
offense. The offensive line was blocking well, and they had 3 running backs. They could have injured 2 running backs. They still would have had a running back that could just get right through you for 150 yards. So I just don't.
And to me, that
doesn't have that. Alabama doesn't have that.
The only team in the bracket, and again, I am biased. I'm not even going to pretend I am biased. But when analysts, experts are saying it as well, that the only team in their opinion, like Notre Dame was better than everybody but Ohio State and Indiana. The only other team that I would have even been a little scared of, the Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia, when
they're a really good team. They played Notre Dame and Georgia last year. That was a hell of a football game. It would have been that way this year. But the reason Notre Dame's sitting at home, and I firmly believe this, and this is where I'll wrap up, is because everybody on that committee knows that if Notre Dame gets in, Notre Dame has a better chance than most of the field to win a national title. And
there was only so many teams that were going to, blindside the SEC, and Notre Dame was the only one of them that they had the opportunity to push out.
Yeah.
The other ones are sitting at the top. There was nothing they could do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, your bias argument, that 2-loss team that Jason brought up, that's when we first heard, we get that they have more losses, but we're trying to put a good product. We want the best teams. And some people went, okay, I guess they have a better team now and now you don't get that argument because Alabama proved nothing to show they're a better team than anyone.
Yep.
And you still let them in with more losses. So bias up, playoff committee down, college football borderline disgusting.
Not even borderline. It is
just disgusting.
It is absolutely disgusting. And maybe this will be an off-season topic if and how the system can be fixed. We certainly won't touch on that now. Jason asking about this being number one in the bracket worth it. They don't reseed currently. We've addressed this in the past, so I'm not going to rehash it a ton. But they need to reseed as well.
Right, they need it to look ugly again.
They need
something that looks like an injustice. Probably should happen to an SEC team, but to realize that but eventually they'll realize that if they get to reseed, they can just work it so that the SEC automatically gets through. They can just do that, and then it'll be fine. But yeah, no, they'll definitely get into that. Just probably not in the next year or two.
Yeah, and I think over the next year or two, we're probably going to see 14 and 16 teams and all of that as well. But yeah, we'll kind of address that moving forward. So yeah, that's where we're going to close the book on that. And we'll start to we're going to shift gears here to the National Football League, and we are getting closer and closer, Sean, to the playoffs. We won't spend a ton of time here in this postseason bracket, but looking at the playoff picture where we do stand right now. Actually, let me real quick back up. Army Navy game this Saturday, 3:00 on CBS. Navy 9-2 is a 6-point favorite over 6-5 Army. Your over under is 38.5. This one being played M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. Navy leads the series 63-55-7. Their current win streak in the series is Navy. They won last year. That broke an Army streak. They won last year 31-13. What do you think, Army, Navy?
I mean, both teams always put up a show in this one, and it always ends up being tighter than it should be. So I think the 6-point spread speaks volumes to how much better I think Navy is than Army. And I'm going to ride with them. Let's not forget that a few weeks ago, this was a top 25 team. They can run all over you. This Navy team, unlike years of the past, can pass right over you if you overcommit. I think this could be one of the wider spreads in recent memory. I'm going to take Navy to cover that 6 pretty handedly. What was my over under? 38.
38.5.
I'm still going to take the under though. I feel like Army might have a harder time scoring than most years. So I'm going to keep the points low. But Navy wins by more than a score.
Yeah, look, just like and I forgot this point in the last segment, but Boise State winning the Mountain West, boosting Notre Dame's resume, by the way, which makes
not enough.
Makes what happened on Sunday even
not as much as going for it on 4th down.
Yeah, that's a good point. Or losing by 21 at the end. But I want everything to go to make Notre Dame's resume, even in hindsight, look as good as possible. So sorry, Army, you're the victim here. Navy, I want them to win big. I want them to clear the over themselves. Give me Navy in a big way on Saturday. All right, so let's now look at the NFL playoff picture here. And where we stand. We'll start, Sean, in the on the AFC side. Your current number 1 seed, Denver. Your 2-7 matchup would be New England and Houston. Your 2-6 matchup would be the Jaguars and the Bills. Your 4-5 matchup would be the Steelers and the Chargers. Fresh off the win last night, of course. I don't know that there's a ton of surprise here. We're starting to see the field in the AFC get a little bit clearer. I think to me the most shocking of all of these is the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off that win against Baltimore. Baltimore looks just absolutely lost right now. That to me is the most surprising on the AFC side.
Yeah, and I don't know that door's locked just yet. I think that there's, unfortunately for Cincinnati, they also handed a game back to a team they had almost out behind the woodshed there for a while, and that's just the sign of the way things go in Cincinnati. But yeah, in the AFC, I think things are starting to clear up. I still think there's a little bit of muddle down at the bottom, and you might see something down there in those wild card things. I think the easiest swing or the most likely swing in the AFC is in the AFC South. I think things are incredibly tight. I don't think the Colts come back into play, but I wouldn't put it past them. Maybe we get the old man Pip Rivers in there. If it's Riley Leonard, pack it in. I don't see it. I like Notre Dame. God bless them. Way to go. Congrats on the starting job, but I don't see that team being near as strong, with him there. But I've been proven wrong before. But the Jaguars look good. The Texans look real good. That could be a fun fight here as we hit the finish line.
Yeah, there's still obviously a few things in motion. That the South is pretty wild currently. Sitting there with 2 representatives, could certainly get a third. The loss of Daniel Jones, crushing blow, man. What a season he was having. And the Phillip Rivers things, man. I see a lot of people making jokes about it. Which, like, first off, the dude is one of the toughest quarterbacks we've ever seen. Never missed a start in his career. I know he hasn't taken an NFL snap in 4 years, but he apparently found this out today. His son, they run the Colts offense at his son's high school. He's in communication with Shane Steichen and is familiar with this offense. So he's being brought in to right now it's just practice squad. Let's keep that in mind. But to help mentor a rookie quarterback who's now thrust into a starting role, trying to save a team that is floundering. You don't think having a guy who spent 18 years in the National Football League in that room is going to be helpful? A guy who Riley Leonard has done camps with Phillip Rivers, like is very close with Phillip Rivers already. Like, this is a smart business decision. They're not starting Phillip Rivers this Sunday.
No, that's not.
So let's just tap the brakes on what it is and isn't. I think it is a smart business move by the Colts. The Cowboys brought in John Kitna a few years ago as backup in a playoff game because Romo was hurt, or excuse me, Dak was hurt, and Kyle Orton was down for the count. So like they brought in as EJ crashes in to the studio, but they
literally.
I think it's a smart move by the Colts there. But EJ, we're just real quick looking at the NFL playoff picture. We're looking at the AFC side, and is there what's the most surprising thing into where the bracket sits right now for you?
I mean, obviously, the two teams that right now currently not in the picture. I mean, that we all thought would at least be in the picture at this point. The Chiefs and the Ravens not being there is less about who's there, who's not there, or anything else. So, in terms of teams being there, honestly, the Jaguars to me are a surprise. The Pats have been a surprise all year long.
That's your division leading. Jacksonville Jaguars. Thank you.
And that too. I mean,
that's the surprising part. I mean,
right. I mean, the Pats are a big surprise too, although, but Denver was playing last year should be too surprising. It's how good they've been this year. Everything else pretty much status quo. I mean, the order is pretty much all jacked up than what we thought it would be before the year started. But the teams outside maybe New England and Jacksonville, the other teams here in the mix, are not surprising necessarily. It's more about the order more than anything else.
All right, yeah, let's glance over to the NFC side. Rams, your current 1 seed. The Packers off their big win on Sunday, your 2 seed. They would face the 7 seed Chicago Bears. Your 3-6 matchup would be the Eagles and the 49ers, and your 4-5 seed would be the Buccaneers and the Seahawks. EJ, same question. What's surprising on the NFC?
I mean, Chicago is the easy one, of course. By the way, how do you go from 1 week to go from 1 seed to a 7 seed? Just like that.
Yeah, I mean that's how
Just
tight
1 week.
that's how tight the race is at the top of the conference, and in those wild card positions too is to fall from 1 to 7.
And they're a dangerous place to be because that's not where the close race ends.
No,
there's some teams just outside trying to creep in, and a few of them could be division leaders by the end of the week. You know what I mean? Like
could be right. I'm to be honest with you. I think, honestly, I know it's still a month away from here, but I think really the 14 teams we see right now at this point might be the 14 teams we see going forward. I think the only teams looking at that may be susceptible to getting out of the race the next couple of weeks, Pittsburgh, of course, but I think the NFC is defined. Because Detroit has a chance to jump back in, but
I think Carolina Panthers would like a seat in this discussion with a floundering Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. That team looks like garbage. If you think they have a stronghold on that NFC South,
I'm still going to trust Baker Mayfield to close this out instead of Bryce Young at the end of the day. But to your point, you raised a great point there. That
I present Exhibit A, the New Orleans Saints.
I mean, that was bad.
Of course, they have a chance to just beat the Panthers next. That would be hilarious.
I mean,
very 2025 thing.
Yeah. So,
of course.
So I think that the wild card teams in the AFC, are pretty much, I think, in hand, especially with what's happening in Indianapolis. I think that the Steelers' position is about the only one that's in flux. And the NFC
the only
side,
thing I'd say that would be different than that would be if one of them would move up, like if
positioning could change.
And like maybe the Bills took the Patriots somehow. Sure.
I
could see that.
I don't think Indy wins another game.
They might not.
That schedule.
They might not. It's tough. On the NFC side, I mean, the Bears have kind of a challenging. They have the Browns this week, but then they have Packers, Niners, Lions. We're going to find out a lot about the Bears over the last month. Niners.
We're going to find out a lot about the Lions in the last month.
We're going to find out a lot about the Lions. Niners don't have the easiest last 2 weeks of the year. The next 2 weeks look pretty easy with Titans, Colts. So the Niners are probably baked in. Sean, I asked the same question to you then, but I get the road gets easier for Philly, but the NFC East isn't decided yet either, which is insane with only a game and a half lead over Dallas. I thought Dallas was dead in the water Thursday, and now all of a sudden somehow they're still alive. But Sean, most surprising thing in the NFC?
That the Eagles are still third.
You're not wrong.
I've been watching them. To their credit, they won enough games early that they're clinging to life here. But it's starting to feel a lot like the other year when they did like a big, 8.8 game slide. I don't think that NFC East is decided just yet at all. And to be honest, I'm not sure any of the divisions are truly locked up. I mean, the Seahawks are right on the tail of the Rams, and obviously the NFC North could be won by one of three teams still.
I'll say if the Packers have a slip up and the Bears win, all of a sudden they flip back again.
They will, and
they play again next week, and then
I
think I don't know that I would have discredited the West in the NFC, but I did not necessarily see that as a division that would have three teams in now. Man, the Seahawks have just burst onto the scene again. Jesus,
and they are a problem.
If I knew the Eagles had to play the 49ers for their lives this week, I would just start packing my bags.
But in a weird
I
way, though,
believe in the 49ers, but right now I would believe in them a lot more than what I've seen coming out of Philadelphia. So unless we start to right this ship soon, I don't know that we would beat any of these teams minus maybe Tampa Bay.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like the Seahawks, as good as they've looked at time, have also looked very bipolar because it was just a couple of weeks ago where they lost to the Rams and then they struggled to beat the Titans, who are regularly in our bottom fives. Now, they have looked good the last 2 weeks against Minnesota and Atlanta, but it's also Minnesota and Atlanta.
Yeah.
They play the Colts this week, so we're probably not going to learn a whole lot more about them this week. But then after then, they play Rams, Panthers, at the 49ers. So the road does get harder for Seattle as well to close out the year.
Man, I'll tell you what, that Rams or that Seahawks-Niners game might have playoff implications, and I don't mean in the right way. I think that could easily be a situation where
the loser's out.
Especially, and that could really be a situation for that.
Sam Darnold at times has looked like maybe a top 12 guy, has also looked like a bottom 10 guy at times this year. And let's not forget, at the end of last year, week 18, and a wild card matchup with the Vikings, Sam Darnold looked terrible. So the bipolar nature of Sam Darnold could come back.
But again, I think what we're learning too, like even with the struggles that and by the way, Jim, your point was salient. But what we're learning this year too is that there's no great teams in the league anymore. This year,
absolutely,
there's really good teams. I mean, there's some teams I could say that. I mean, I think the only team that feels great to me is the Rams, but they're not much better than Seattle, much better than.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, they have their flaws as well. They lost to the Panthers a week ago. So
I mean, everybody has a bad loss this year.
Yeah, it's and yeah, I mean, talking to that NFC East matchup, I think to me that's the most surprising thing is I saw a tweet earlier today that at halftime last Sunday, the Eagles were up 21-0 against Dallas at 8-2, and they are now 8-5. literally 8 days later, they are an 8-5 football team, and they have the Raiders this week, then Commanders, Bills, Commanders to close out the year. So fairly easy besides a Bills game. Dallas has Minnesota, Chargers, Commanders, and Giants. So
right,
I mean, Dallas has the harder of the two roads, but the fact that race is even close is silly. I think Dallas is going to live to regret the loss to the Cardinals in a big way.
Wait. You say Dallas has harder schedule than Philadelphia?
Yeah, absolutely.
I disagree. Does the police have Buffalo in the schedule?
Yeah, that's the like that is. The Eagles have Buffalo. The Cowboys have the Chargers. I think those games are fairly similar.
Okay.
And then
Chargers,
I
think a few weeks ago, and when I say a few, 1 or 2 weeks ago, the Chargers still looked beat up and mangled and not really putting up much of a fight. And I don't know how much of the fight last night was real and what's not.
Well, two really good teams last night. Yeah.
They have an amazing kicker. I'll give them that.
Jesus. They do.
He is really good, man.
Kid doesn't freaking miss. I'm like, just shank one, will you? God, you're making us all look bad. But I think Buffalo has looked just as bad at times as the Chargers have at their lowest.
I think those two games are similar.
I put them at similar level teams. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get out of the playoff picture for now. We'll check back in with that when we look back at this next week. But let's get into some games. We actually have some football on the horizon this week, and we are in week number 15 of the National Football season, National Football League season, and we will start on Sunday, 1:00 Eastern time on CBS. It is a AFC East matchup. The 9-4 Buffalo Bills, a 1-point road favorite at 11-2 New England. You're over under 49.5. EJ.
Wow. The disrespect, man.
I agree with that. I agree with that one. That is disrespectful.
They're acting like New England didn't beat Buffalo in Buffalo literally early in the year.
Exactly.
Funny thing, and I get that. I mean, look, Josh Allen is climbing back in the MVP race, and I get all that, and he deserves to. That's correct in the league right now. But what I've seen from the Pats, and I know the schedule has not reflected on the challenges, but they have won the games you're supposed to win in the way you're supposed to, and against the bad teams. Okay, and that goes a long way in framing that argument. Buffalo, like you said, they're up and down. They're like EKG. I don't trust them. I just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen's still that dude, but I don't trust that team. So I'm taking the Pats one outright, man. And I'll take what's number over under again?
Your over under is 49.5.
Give me the over. Screw it.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, I mean that number's pretty tight. Now I have heard there could be some weather affecting the game, that it could be a snowy day. At least I saw one clip of that. So we'll hold out on that. It's still early in the week, obviously. But yeah, I guess when you have Josh Allen, it's hard to just automatically say he's going to lose 2 in a row to another team. But Patriots coming off a bye too. They got healthy. They're preparing for this one. This is one of the big games left on their schedule. And man, sweeping Buffalo would be a huge statement for a new coach. So I'm going to take the Patriots with their bye. Rain, sleet, snow, ice, I don't really care. I think the Patriots can run the ball. And I think Drake May's careful enough with the fact that Drake May can run the ball. Maybe not quite as well as Josh Allen, but maybe as well as Josh Allen now. Josh Allen is much older, obviously. Go ahead and give me Drake May, and I'm going to take the under just because it feels like it's going to be a cold, wet day. I'm going to take the under.
Yeah, chance of snow, 33, but gusty winds. So, yeah, I think under is the smart play here. Devin has the Bills and the under in this one. Yeah, look, the Josh Allen's been coming alive. The Bills kind of been coming alive, but this is, I think, a much harder matchup. And you're going to go into a hostile environment. I like New England a lot here. I think they're going to continue to solidify what they've been doing this season. Give me the Patriots, but give me the under. And I will pull the clock for the rest of these games. I think we were fine on that one, but in the interest of time. Then we go Sunday. Speaking of disrespect, Sunday, 1:00 Eastern time on CBS, the 9-4 Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego, fresh off their win last night. They travel to 6-7 Kansas City, no longer eligible to win the to win the AFC West. 8-9. But the Chiefs, a 4.5-point home favorite. You're over under 43.5. EJ.
Yeah, I tell you, these memes are funny though. Like, you see 6-7 memes of like the the Dolphins 6-7, Chiefs 6-7, Ravens 6-7. Not all created equal, obviously. And I said this on weeks that until this team is dead and buried, I'm not gonna quit them. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, you're not.
Here's reality situation.
Who do you trust?
They are not. I don't think going to the playoffs, but there's still a 14% chance of getting the playoffs, and the path is still there, and it's got to start this week. And the only way they're going to be able to do that is to beat the Chargers number one. The Chargers are pretty much the only path to get into the playoffs because of their schedule too. Also, the Chargers have a very tough schedule coming up. To end the year. So, but that's why last was a huge win for the Chargers last night. Having said that, man, I don't want to do this though, but I'm going to take KC in this game. I'm
Homer.
Jeez.
Homer. It's KC by a touchdown.
That is a disgusting act.
I think the emotion last week's Monday's game against the Eagles, I'm not going to show its ugly head a little bit here. I think Kansas City is desperate. Give me KC in this game, the close one. Give me the over on this one. But, man, do I think they're going to the playoffs? No. Am I ready to quit them? No.
Of course you're not. You can't quit, Patrick. Sean.
I already told you, until I see that X eliminated with contention, when I believe it.
One of the few redeeming things of this football season is when I see that X pop up next to their name.
There you go.
Sean.
And based on their history, they deserve that.
He said Sean.
Sorry, Sean.
Shut up, EJ. Sean, go ahead.
EJ still loves the Chiefs. Apparently, so does Vegas. They're the 4.5-point favorite despite a 6-7 record. You got to be out of your mind. Look, could I see EJ's pick hitting? Sure. And obviously, the Eagles were able to force a lot of turnovers on a one-armed Justin Herbert, and the Chiefs' defensive front looked much improved, especially the play of Chris Jones in last week's game. So I could see it. If you get to Justin Herbert. Now the problem is that Justin Herbert was throwing crisper, better passes down the field with one arm than Patrick Mahomes was the night before with two. So I think he looked tougher. I think he looked like more of a leader. He didn't look listless. He was fighting. He was disgusted by mistakes. And I think I disagree with the emotional ending taking a toll. I think this is one that might push the Chargers over the top. Maybe recharge the Chargers a bit. And I'm going to take the Chargers to cover the 4.5 for sure, but probably just win this one and just bury those Chiefs right under Arrowhead Stadium there. But you're right, don't count them out. But I'm about to. So give me that. Give me the over.
How about that Charger?
Anytime
There's only one that can have it better than us. That's
right. I'm gonna go with my guy Harbaugh here. Bury those Chiefs. Yeah, I think a Jim Harbaugh coach team with momentum, and they're starting to get healthy, and that's the thing. They still have injuries. Don't get me wrong, but they're getting healthier at the tight end position. They're getting healthier at the running back position. Justin Herbert seems unaffected by a left hand surgery. If anything, it galvanized him and that team a bit. Obviously, you still have a great kicking game. You'll have the better of the two kickers on Sunday. Absolutely give me the Chargers. That 4.5. That's absolutely disrespectful. And I will take I'm actually going to take a slight under. I don't think the Chiefs score a lot of points here because I think that Chargers defense is going to continue to stay hungry like they were last night.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
All right. Then we move. Devin has the Chargers in the over. Then we move to Sunday, 4:25 Eastern Time, CBS. It is the 9-3-1 Green Bay Packers. Possibly disrespectful. 2.5-point road favorite at 11-2. Denver, you're over under in this one. Also 43.5.
A sneaky possible Super Bowl preview, maybe? Question mark.
I don't know that I'd go that far yet, but it's potential. There's potential there, especially with the way Green Bay is playing.
like that could happen, but in this wide open season we've seen so far, in this parity-driven league we've seen in 2025, you can't. It's off the table, certainly. You know, right now both of these teams are right now currently the 2 seeds, and actually no, the 1 seed is Denver right now in the AFC, right?
They are, yeah. The 1
By
seed versus
right.
the 2 seed,
But,
yeah.
Right. So, you know, like I said, it's another measuring stick game for these teams. Bigger game for me for Denver, I think, because again, it's a perception that even though 11-2 hasn't been sexy, defense is great, but Bo Nix has been kind of mid at best. So another win, another game where they can prove themselves that, hey, listen, we beat Philadelphia this year, we beat some really good teams this year. You know, we beat the Packers now. I mean, assuming they win the game, of course. Having said all that, this is a tough one. I'm going to take the Packers in this one. Although I will say, do not bet this game at all because it's a tough one, and it's also in Denver, so home field advantage there. But I will also take the over. I think that number is low enough, despite the defenses here. It's low enough, and I think for Green Bay to win this game, they got to put some points on the board because that's the one thing. The one thing Denver does well, more than anything else, probably no better than any team in the league outside Seattle and Houston. That defense is amazing.
Yeah,
so
they hold their.
Give me Green Bay to win this game. Give me the over.
All right, very good. Sean.
Yeah, tale of 2 teams that have at times tried to win me over this year and actually play some good football for a few games in a row. Denver's been doing a lot longer here, and you know, this is now 3 for 3 with lines that I think are completely disrespectful. I know the Broncos aren't winning by much, but they're winning with defense. They're winning with poise. They're winning with a lack of mistakes, and I feel like it's something that this is going to be like a playoff environment. It's going to feel like one, and I think Denver for the last 10 games has been playing football the way playoff games are won, and I think to have a defense as stout as the Denver Broncos has been all year, to give them an underdog capacity at home. Give me the Denver Broncos. I would argue that if you're going to pick a side, like that would be the smart one just because you get some points with it.
Oh, the Denver Broncos.
Fair point.
So give me those. Green Bay's defense has been playing better too. The Micah Parsons obviously playing at a very high level. The wild card here for me is I think you know what you're going to get out of Bo Nix. I feel like Bo Nix is going to be a little bit off at times in the game, but for the most part is going to keep things safe. They're going to run the ball, obviously. You got a fairly fresh set of legs in RJ Harvey, who just took over the leading role. So give me them, and Jordan Love, I feel, is due for a letdown game, as is Christian Watson, and this defense is the one to give it to him. So they're not going to score points. Give me Denver and the under.
Yeah, I think both of you make really good points here, and that if Denver is going to win this game, I think they need to limit the points. If Green Bay is going to win this game, they're going to open it up, and then that's going to be the critical battle. Let's see, Devin did have the Broncos in the under, and to me, I think that's kind of the play here. Is Green Bay's looked flashy. They've put up a lot of points. Chicago limited them a little bit last week. I was still pretty impressed, like even in a losing effort with Chicago, and kind of going shot for shot with the Packers. I don't know that Denver can win that sort of game, but Chicago laid the groundwork a little bit for how to slow down this Packers offense. And look, Green Bay is not going to be impacted by the cold, but it's the thinner air that I think could be the kind of deciding factors we see in many games, especially in the later season. So I like Denver here at the very least to cover, and I know 2.5 is a slim margin. I do like that on their side if you do want to touch this game. And because I'm taking the Broncos to cover and win the game, I will take the under as well. And then last one, a big one in the NFC, especially for the visiting team. This one, 4:25 Eastern time on Fox, is the 8-5 Detroit Lions, still clinging to life just on the outside of that playoff picture right now, traveling out west to the 10-3 Los Angeles Rams, a 5.5 point home favorite. Your over/under is 55.5. EJ.
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. Lots of fireworks too. That number is right where it should be, 55 points as the over/under. Again, Detroit needs this game. They are still technically in the race for the division, but I feel like their best. Well, I guess it is division really to best track is probably win the division, but the wild card is still in play as well too. Also, but again, another measuring stick game for the Lions. You know, they want to get back in this thing. They got to win this game, and I don't have the schedule in front of me right now, but I mean, look, you can get a big must win in this one, right? You know, and these two teams, have had some really good battles last couple of years. I think last year, 2 years ago rather, I had a playoff game, in the wild card round. That was a classic. So this will be a great game. Ultimately, it comes down to who do you trust. And for me, it's Matthew Stafford and company. And they've this year been the more consistent team. And their defense is playing very well. They're probably the best team in the league. So, or at least right now anyway. So I'm going to take the Rams win this game and cover by a touchdown. But the best bet here is taking the over. 55 points not enough, man. I see fireworks like crazy. So give me the over.
All right, very good. Sean?
Yeah, if you want any picture that will show you how important every game from this point out in the NFC is, the Detroit Lions are third in their division. They are on the outside looking in, and they are 2 games behind the Los Angeles Rams, who are the best team in the NFC.
Yeah.
So you have 10-3, you have 8-5. That is not a huge margin for error, which shows you that even the Los Angeles Rams and all the who do you trust? You trust the Rams. They slip 2 or 3 games, it could turn real quick. So
who do you trust?
But having said that, EJ, I'm very much with you here. And the one thing you didn't touch on, and we've touched on it for a couple weeks here, is the banged up, the injuries piling up on the Detroit defense again. And unfortunately, going into a game against Matt Stafford, in my opinion, right now, the runaway for NFL MVP, most of those injuries in the secondary, they don't have either of their 2 starting corners or either of their 2 starting safeties available. 3 of them are on IR, so they're out for at least 2 more weeks. So it's not a great situation. And I know Dan Campbell's a hard-hitting guy. Yeah, this is turning into a Dan Campbell problem. It seems to be running into a situation where asking guys to hit as hard as they do and play as physical as they do seems like the guys don't hold up over an 18-week season. So because of that, as much as I would love this to just keep getting muddled, I don't think this is the game that gets it done. I think, like EJ said, I think Stafford takes this one easily. I think they do it a lot through the air. Detroit will put up points because they have to, and because their offense is the only fight they really have left. Look for Stafford to have a turnover, 2 more too. I wouldn't be surprised to see someone from the defensive front get a touchdown here for Detroit. But give me the over and the line and the Rams. I don't think it's going to be as much of a fight for the Lions as people think.
All right, I did have to hit the buzzer though.
Oh,
we did hit the clock.
EJ interrupted.
Well, that's fair.
I didn't say a word, brother.
It's EJ's fault.
I didn't say a word, brother.
Yeah, look, Detroit, they got a win they desperately needed against Dallas last week, but I think that's as much about what the Dallas Cowboys are and aren't than the Lions actually kind of getting the ship righted here. Because I think if that game goes 5 more minutes, the Cowboys probably end up winning. The way it was going. I
agree.
The Rams are just better, and when you look at 2 teams that in a tight window, it's not even about trust. It's just who's better. The Rams are better, and they're at home. If this is in Detroit, I know it's not outside, but you can go into a hostile environment, come east a little bit. The Rams have everything going for them in this one, including those injuries on the Lions side of the ball, on both sides of the ball. So yeah, give me the Rams. I think they do cover that 5.5, and I think this definitely does hit the over as well. Devin has the Lions and the over.
Is it safe to say, and I'm not saying his job security is in jeopardy, he's in trouble, far from it, but is it safe to say that Dan Campbell, the honeymoon on Dan Campbell is a little bit over now?
Yeah, I think in a way, I do think you're kind of right, and I have a couple of friends who are Lions fans that it feels weird for the Lions to be in any position to like gripe about anything because of how bad they've been. But I think it's fair to criticize in spots where it's just like, dude, sometimes just kick the fucking field goal. Sometimes just just make the smart play. You don't always have to be, I'm going to go, bite that sheet metal. Like I don't think you need that attitude all the time. Sometimes it is smarter to just do the logical thing and take the points or or punt the ball away, and stuff like that. So, it's certainly not in jeopardy, but I think criticism is absolutely fair at this point. And again, this is the third or fourth year in a row we've seen injuries pile up. Maybe it's start to think about that as well for the Lions, because the toll does get taken on that team. So, all right, let's go in here to the power rankings. We'll probably try to not spend as much time as we do some weeks on them. But top 10, bottom 5. EJ, starting your bottom 5, please.
Bottom 5 is almost similar to last week's: 28 Falcons, 29 Saints, 30 Titans, 31 Raiders, 32 Giants.
All right. Mike has from 28 to 32 Jets, Saints, Titans, Browns, and Raiders. Sean.
All right. Browns, Jets, Titans, Raiders, Giants. Titans jump 2 spots on my list. 2 spots.
I have Giants, Jets, Titans, Raiders, Browns. Browns get penalized for losing to the Titans. That's pretty bad. Again, I'm just going to buzz right past these. It's pretty much about the same 7 teams near the bottom all year. EJ, your top 10, please.
Top 10, here we go. 10 to 1. Number 10, the Eagles. Number 9, the Bears. 8, 49ers. 7, Chargers. 6, Bills. 5, the Packers. 4, Broncos. 3, Seahawks. 2, Patriots. Number 1, the Rams.
All right, from 10 to 1, Mike has Texans, Lions, Chargers, 49ers, Bears, Packers, Seahawks, Rams, Patriots, and Broncos at 1. Sean.
Starting at 10, I got the Chargers crept in there for the first time all season. My Eagles are out of my top 10.
Wow.
I wanted them at 10 until I got there, and I needed the Chargers to beat them.
Chargers.
Yeah, well, they better get back in here. So I got the Chargers, then I got the Bills, Bears coming in at 8. I got the Texans climbing the ranks at number 7, Jaguars at 6, Packers at 5. Then the NFC West rears its head with the Seahawks and the Rams at 4 and 3 respectively, and my 2-1 unchanged Patriots Broncos.
Chargers get in with the win last night. 49ers learned you can go down when you have a bye week. We learned that in college football as well. Eagles 8, Jaguars 7, Bears 6, Packers 5, Seahawks 4, Rams 3, Patriots 2, and my new number 1 is the Denver Broncos on the win. It feels weird that I have the Eagles the highest.
Jim, where'd you have the Bears last week?
Last week I had the Bears at 4.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, Packers were at 9. I think they had the biggest movement in any direction this week with the win over the Bears.
Okay. Am I the only one that has the Eagles? No, Jim, you have them there too.
Yeah, I have them at 8. They were at 7 for me last week. I maybe could have brought them down further, but I'm still not sure that I believe in the Niners. I know the Chargers just beat the Eagles, but it felt hard for me to drop them completely out. I know like Texans, Bills, I feel like there's a lot of teams that could be in that 8 to 10 group.
Once you get past 5,
it
gets real muddled. And
yeah,
I think you have like 2 pods. You have like what I would call the 6 to 9 pod. It's all by feel though. It's like what do you like in football at that point? It's like, do you like a running game? Do you like a defense? Do you like an offense? Because those teams don't have all of it. They have like 1 or 2 parts that were really working well, and it just kind of goes. I'm a defense guy, so the Texans jumped all the way to 7. I've seen everything I need to see from the Texans to tell me they don't need a lot of great offense to win ball games.
Yeah,
I prefer putting Texans in my top 10 as well too.
Yeah, they're close. They're close, and I think if had the Chargers lost last night, the Texans probably are my 10. I just think getting a win over a team that I had at 7 last week was enough to get the Chargers back in there, especially because they are getting healthy. I know
if Kyle sees my list, he'll give me shit because like the Jaguars aren't there.
Yeah, that may be a little bit surprising. Are you not just buying in on them yet?
No, I'm. Yeah, they're a solid team. You know, give Neil Cohen credit and Duval and all that stuff, but like, are they really one of the 10 best teams? Do you really believe that? I'm not there yet.
Okay.
I think Houston's better than they are.
I mean, do we find out?
I don't know. Jaguars defense looks way better than people.
They are playing better football, and they've won games.
They just don't get noticed, but they're playing good ball.
They are. It's just one of those things where, you know, it'd be easy to split. Okay, who has a better record? Number one.
Jacoby Myers has been a godsend to them.
Yeah, that's
wide receiver.
That was a huge game changer, and
he's
I mean,
motivated now because he hasn't put any actual work in on a crummy Raiders team.
No,
like he didn't. He was walking through those games because he looks twice as fast.
The Jackson Texans have split the season series this year too. So
I have to ask though, you guys, because both of you guys and Mike had Denver number one, and I'm bought into Denver as a solid team, but the best team in football. I don't know why you got what is it number one.
They just keep winning. I mean. You know, they're not the most impressive team in football, but they just keep finding ways to win. You know, and I know, like, you know, is their most impressive win the Texans? Is their most impressive win the one over the Chiefs? Like, I don't know. I mean, the Rams do probably have a stronger quote unquote resume, but the Rams also lost to Carolina a week ago, and Denver. But is Carolina? But looking back in hindsight, now Carolina is not so much a bad loss anymore. They may be a playoff.
Broncos haven't lost a game since week 2.
Right, and that's the thing. They've won 10 in a row. Like, so.
The thing is though, like Denver's deserving in the top 3 or 4. I don't disagree with that. I mean, they have wins over who? Like, they have the wins over. They should be in the Colts number one. First of all, the Colts lost. They should have won that game. They got screwed in that game. They did beat Houston this year. They did beat, you know, the Cowboys, and they have quality wins to justify that. You know,
well, maybe we should punish them more because they have 2 losses by a total of 4 points, and we know what that does to a team. No, but
not the standings.
No, but you know, I think for me. I think, you know, we've over the years we've talked about those pockets of teams, and I think 1 through 4, I think everybody has a case. And for me, I looked at last week. My list went Patriots, Broncos, Rams, Bears, Seahawks were at 5. The Patriots were off. We know you can drop when you don't play anybody. So the Broncos win, they move up. Rams hold at 3. Bears lost, so they fell. Seahawks move up into the 4 spot. I think those are your 4 best teams in football right now.
Man, Broncos are about to get tested. Jeez.
Yeah.
Packers, Jaguars, Chiefs, Chargers to end the year.
Yeah, and the Chargers are a team that has beat them. So there's a window for the Rams to move up. There's a window for the Broncos to move down.
To be honest, I wanted to put the Rams too after their performances the last 2 weeks. But I had the Patriots at 2 last week, and they didn't play. So I was like, well, we'll see. You know, and I know the Rams had a big game coming up this week, so figure they win, maybe I bump them. But we'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of shifts here in this.
This is easily for me, and someone who's been doing power rankings for well over 15, 20 years now. This is by far the probably most challenging year of top 10s I think I've done because of the parity.
Because every week a grenade goes off.
That's what I'm saying, but not only that, but like, you know, in the past you have your clear cut 1 or 2 teams in the league. You know, the Patriots and the Chiefs and all these teams that dominate, the Packers, whatever.
And with the games on the schedule, there's a very real opportunity. I mean, I know it's probably not going to happen, right? But like, I mean, you could have like 3 of this top 4 just lose, like immediately, and then be like, well, shit, right? Like, now what? So you just never know, man. You just never know. This year's nuts.
So, I love it. Case in point. 3 weeks ago, week 12, all of us had the Eagles at number 1, Colts at number 2. For me and Mike, EJ, you had the Rams. Sean, you had the Patriots there. Rams were at 3 for me. But like Broncos were at 5. Seahawks were at 7 for a couple of us. So like Chiefs were in a couple people's lists. Buccaneers were in some people's. Like, you can see just how you can see just how quickly you had the Ravens 3 weeks ago in your list.
Yep.
Like, so you can see just how quickly 3 weeks, not even a month's time, 3 weeks, how quickly things can change this year. So yeah, I think it's been challenging. It's been fun, and it's actually when we do these segments, it's probably been one of the least contested. Like, like people getting upset because there's like a case for kind of anybody in any of these spots because there isn't one definitive great team. So that's where we'll close that section for this week, and we will close up the show as only we can do each and every week.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, we look ahead to the weekend that will be, and we look at the one thing that will happen this upcoming weekend. Sean, what will happen this weekend?
All right, I've been fighting this NFL slate, trying to find my lock a long time, and they're all so obvious that it's insane, or it's just impossible to choose. So I'm going to go way out on a limb here. I'm going to take something I just got a gut feeling on, and it has to do with the weather. It has to do with the rise of one young quarterback, and kind of I really can't give any reason for it. But you know what's going to happen this weekend? Going to shock the world. The true lock is simply to cover the spread here. But I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns to rise from the bottom five by beating the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field in Chicago.
Whoa.
It's just something about that. It's going to be cold. It's going to be ugly. And I think the allure of Shedeur Sanders distracts you from the fact that they have a phenomenal defense that could confuse a young Caleb Williams and could maybe slow down a run game and then just hit them with a run game of their own with Quinshon Judkins. Give me the Cleveland Browns to beat the Chicago Bears. You can lock that up.
The funny thing is that I can actually see that because I'm not
because I said it.
No, number one, yes. Number two, the Bears are like the NFC version of the Broncos for me. Like, they're a good team, but I'm not fully there. Okay, Jaguars.
You thought the fall to 7 hurt. Wait till the next one.
Yeah, jeez. I mean, I could see it.
And then the allure of Shedeur Sanders, the rise to fandom.
Because you're talking about MVP. Miles Garrett should be MVP candidate, honestly. That dude's fucking.
They're gonna have to beat the Bears first.
Yeah. Which if you based what you said here, it's probably gonna happen. It wouldn't be surprised.
Well, anyway, I locked it up.
EJ, what's gonna happen this weekend?
Lock. My lock this week is going to be. And I think the guy's hurt, but I think this week he will turn things around. Lamar Jackson goes for a huge game. He'll score at least 3 touchdowns, 1 or 2 of his legs and whatnot, as the Ravens turn things around and beat the Bengals on the road.
There you go. By the way, going back to the segment we were talking about earlier, in terms of the kind of power play, the value of Notre Dame's decision, it's estimated that ESPN is going to lose roughly $50 million in bowl revenue because Notre Dame's not playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Not our problem.
And that, but when people say, why did they do it? That's why they did it.
Right.
You're not going to give ESPN the financial benefit of benefiting from you when what happened. All right. For me, you know what? We're just talking about the chaos grenade, and every week things are going to blow up in these top 10s. Riley Leonard will get his first NFL win of his career, starting for the Colts this week over the Seattle Seahawks to keep the Colts' playoff hopes alive.
Lock it up.
There we go. All right, so that is where we're going to close up the show this week. Appreciate everybody for tuning in and playing along with us. We certainly appreciate that. EJ, let them know where they can follow you.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at EJChristian7. My show, of course, Earthquake Podcast. Across all podcast catchers on YouTube, especially too at Earthquake Pod on YouTube. Other than that, any podcast catcher, of course. And other than that, that's it. Appreciate you guys having me on the show as always. And yeah.
All right, very good. Sean, let them know.
All right. Well, this weekend you can follow me. Well, not in my car because it broke down, so we don't have that option this week. But you can still follow me on Twitter. Odds are I'll be on a lot more because I won't be in the car. So go ahead and follow me on there. And much to the chagrin, doesn't feel quite as proud right now, but go Birds anyway.
There you go. You can follow me at Big Jim Sports on Twitter and Blue Sky, but most importantly, make sure you're following along with the show. We're at Huddle Up Podcast on Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Twitter. You can also get us on Instagram. You can get us on other platforms, Twitch as well, our broadcasting platforms. Most importantly, click the subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on all podcast platforms. Tell you what, scan that QR code top right corner of the screen right now. That will get you to all of our locations there in our link tree. I would certainly appreciate that. Grab our merchandise over on the TeePublic store. We do have the Stranger Things design. That's a new one up there this week. Is getting you ready for the second half of that finale season. But we'll be back here next week, unfortunately, previewing college football playoff games and the final few weeks of the NFL regular season. Until then, stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.